Welcome to the GetRealWealth.com radio show, where wealth means a lot more than just building a second stream of income with real estate. Listen and learn how 90% of the millionaires in the world use real estate to create a life that most people only dream about. A life that includes good health, family, romance, travel, charity, and all the other parts of a balanced life. Now, here's your host, real estate investor and consultant, Steve Davis.
Good afternoon and welcome to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. It's good to be back on the air. Today, as always, we're talking about building that second stream of income to supplement or even replace your job. We do so primarily by using real estate, but any business can do this, but you've got to own the business. The problem is that most businesses require a huge amount of capital up front. The barriers to entry are very, very high by comparison to real estate investing. And today I'm going to talk about wholesaling quite a bit, but I'll answer questions on anything, any aspect of investing. Single family, apartments, strip shopping centers, storage facilities. And I'll share with you what I know. I don't know everything, but I know enough to help people make decisions on whether this is something they should pursue and get further knowledge on. So one of the things that happened to me this morning was one of my members emailed me her circle of life, and she had done it really cool. I mean, there's no other word for it. It's just cool. I always gave out my circle of life. And by the way, if you don't know what the circle of life is, it's a circle with different spokes. We use 8 spokes when we teach. We use family, romance, fun and adventure, spirituality, and then we separate money into career and wealth. And she took wealth and separated it into active and passive, which was really a neat thing to do. So I'm going to incorporate that from this point forward in our company's wheel of life. And excuse me one second, my chair just collapsed. And I'm going to share it with all the members, because what she did is she put it together where it's, and I don't know how she did it, but it's in a PowerPoint. And when you're looking at it, each of the spokes has a scale from 0 in the center to 10 on the outside. And what you do is you rate yourself in each arena. How's your romance? How's your fitness? How's your fun and adventure? How's your spirituality? How's your money? How's your career? How's your passive income? And you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 and see how close to a circle you can get. And this particular individual had a 1 on one of the spokes. And then she had an 8 or 9 on some others. So as you can imagine, that's not going to form a circle, if you can imagine this in your head. When you connect the dots, it's not going to be a circle. But what was neat about her PowerPoint is that you could click and drag the points to their corresponding number, and it automatically drew the shape. It's very, very cool. And I'll be talking about that in the weekend class, not this weekend, but the following weekend. And I'm going to explain to people how you really need to keep all 8s, all 9s, all 10s, because that's what forms a smooth circle and allows your life to roll smoothly. If you get the analogy, life is like a wheel, and if one part of the wheel is flat, a 1 or a 2, it's not going to roll smoothly. One of the examples I can give you is your fitness may take priority at one time or another. What if you got diagnosed with cancer? Can you see how that one would suddenly have to be a 10? Your fitness would take priority. Your health and fitness would take priority. You might even sacrifice some time with the kids. You might sacrifice time at work. And those would drop from 10s to 5s. But it's necessary to save your life. But that's an extreme example. In most people's lives, they should be really running with 8, 9, and 10s in all the arenas so they have as close to a perfectly round circle as they can get. But again, there are times in life where, let's say your romance is down to a 1, but your work is a 10. You might want to move your work down to a 9 and get some doggone romance in your life. Life is short. Without romance, I'm not even sure I'd want to be here. So at different times, different things take priority. An example that was given to me years ago when I taught this, probably 20 years ago when I first taught this, was a guy who goes, "Do you know what I did, Steve? I spent so much time with my family that now that my kids are 16 and 18, I can't afford to send them to college. I spent so much family time and so little time on my career and wealth because I thought that was the right thing to do, to prioritize your family." I'm not saying your family's not a priority. It's just that people who make one thing, God, country, family, whatever, the priority, and let all the other things suffer as a result of that, are going to lead horrible lives. What I've learned is you need to pay the same amount of attention to each of the 8 arenas. They are all equally important. And if you overly compensate for too long, like I described, there's times when you've got to do more in one arena than the other, such as your health. But in normal times, if you make one a priority over and let the others be sacrificed because of that, you're going to lead a terrible life. So one of the things we're going to cover in the weekend class on the 30th and 31st is we're going to spend about an hour to, I think it's going to be about an hour, maybe hour 15 minutes, on setting effective goals for each of the 8 arenas in your life so that you can leave that class and know exactly where your weak points are, where your strong points are, where you can take a little from there to be more balanced in another arena, and you're going to get a copy of that PowerPoint so you can move those points with your mouse and it automatically draws the shape. It's really, really cool. All right, when we come back, we'll get into wholesaling and why a lot of people start off wholesaling before they do anything else. This is the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. You're listening to AM 700, the voice of Texas. You can call me at 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-KSEV. Thanks for listening. Do you dream of a better life for you and your family? Do you want more time with your family? Would you like to travel more? Would you like to be less dependent on a job for your income? The solution is simple. Build a second stream of income. We can show you how. We are offering a free 2-hour introductory workshop on how to use real estate to build a second stream of income for you and your family. To reserve a seat, visit GetRealWealth.com and click on the free workshop button at the top of the page. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Phone lines are open. Join in any time. Do not worry about the subject matter I'm discussing. If you've got a question about building wealth for yourself and your family with real estate in any form, give me a call. 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-5738. 888-KSEV. So we're going to talk about wholesaling, and one of the reasons that people start with this is fear. They're afraid of going out and buying their first rent property. They're afraid to go out and invest in their first apartment complex. There's a tremendous amount of fear involved in really any change in life. You got to think about that. Why doesn't everybody have a second stream of income? Guess what? Fear. Somewhere in their mind, they have a set of fears. It takes too much time. It's too much work. It takes too much money. It takes too much knowledge. I don't have the knowledge. I'm not smart enough. All those fears combine to paralyze people, even though they're not true. See, a belief or a fear does not have to be true to paralyze you. You know, you think about when they thought the world was flat, and that if you went out on a ship and went straight, you would eventually fall off, so people wouldn't go. And a false belief kept people from taking action. You have to understand that you have a series of false beliefs in your mind that keep you from taking action on certain things. So what I've done is I've added wholesaling to my program to entice people to get their feet wet. Come on, at least try a little wholesale deal. I can show you how to do it with zero risk, zero money, zero credit. Come on. And what that does is it kind of takes away everybody's excuses. It's very hard to look me in the face and go, no, I don't want to try that. Why not? No money, no credit, no risk, and you still don't want to take action? I can honestly say I've never had a person look me in the face and say that. So I like wholesaling because it gets certain people off their rear ends to take a little action. And once they get a wholesale deal done, their confidence level goes way up because they've seen it work. The other reason is, no matter how good you think you are as a wholesaler, you never make as much money as the investor who buys it from you. One time I made, I want to say, what was it? 6 times 6, $36,000 in one wholesale deal. I've made more than that. But you got to understand, the investor that bought it from me probably made over $100,000. Was it a good deal for me? Yeah. But was it a good deal for them? It was a great deal for them. So as soon as somebody wholesales and they see, man, if I'd have kept that deal, I would have made $40,000. I wholesaled the deal and made $10,000. They begin to see it for what it really is. It's really just a job. And it's even taxed that way. It's earned income. Just like flipping. Remember, wholesaling and flipping are not investing. They are earned income. They're a job. And then they go, man, I made $10,000. The investor made $40,000. I think next time I want to be the investor. I think I'll get off my rear end, push those fears aside, and take action. Now, why are we able to do it with no money, no risk, no credit? It's a thing called an assignment, a contract assignment. And what I would do, the first thing that I did is I lined up a group of about 30 investors that I knew their name and I knew exactly what they were looking for. And that is step one. So many people get it backwards, and I'm even listening to a set of CDs on wholesaling where they get it backwards. they talk about going and finding the deal first, and then because the deal's so good, it'll be easy to find a buyer. That is ridiculous. You always find your buyers first. First. You join a real estate investor group, you go to meetings, you pass out business cards, you collect business cards until you have 30 buyers that have told you exactly what they want. Then, and only then, do you go out and search for deals. And guess what kind of deals you look for? The deals that they told you to look for. Excuse me. So, I never had a wholesale deal for more than 48 hours before it was sold to an investor. 48 hours was the longest I ever held one before an investor had committed to buy it and put up the earnest money. Now, how did I do this without money? Because if you'll remember, 28, 29 years ago, I was just a health club instructor. I had bad credit, no money. I'd gotten a $20,000 pay cut, so I spent all my savings trying to keep up with the bills I had generated before I got the pay cut, and I was unable to do that, so I ended up with bad credit, no money. And I would get the property under contract and then sell my rights to that contract to an investor. And I made anywhere from, pretty much I made about 10 grand a month. A couple of months, like I described, I made 36 or 40. But the average was probably around 15 grand a month. And what I did was, the second step was I lined up a group of 20 plus agents that knew me by name, knew what I was looking for, and I convinced them to bring me the deals first. Now, there's a lot to this. I cover it in the weekend class, but there's a specific script that I give my members for how to talk to real estate agents to get them to bring you the deals first. In a nutshell, it's this. My agents get all 6% of the commission. Now, you may say, oh, all agents get 6% commission. Because there's usually two agents in any deal, and they split it. They each only get 3%. See, I promised my agents, look, you bring me a deal, you're going to get all 6% of the commission because it's your listing. Don't bring me anything that's not your listing. Do not patrol MLS. I can do that. Just call me when you get a listing. Then I would write the contract literally that day, sometimes within an hour, sometimes within 5 minutes as I got better at it. And I got control of the property. Then I took that signed contract to my investor list, which I built first, and sold it. I'd say, look, this is how my contract was written. And I know a lot of real estate agents at first are going to say, no way, wouldn't do that. I couldn't get that signed. You're not very good as a salesperson if you can't get this signed. Sorry, but you're not. Here's what I did. I said, look, I don't have the money, but I've got a list of 30 investors that do. Some are cash buyers, some are hard money buyers, some are conventional. But I can get you, I'll give you $5,000 earnest money in 5 days if you'll sign this contract to me right now. Now, this is again where people freak out. They're like, oh, they're taking zero risk. What can they do 2 seconds after they sign the agreement with me? Take a backup contract. If that house is that hot and they're worried about losing a sale by giving me control of the property for 5 days, then just take a backup contract. 2 seconds later, you can do it. If I don't show up on the 5th day with the money, you just go with your backup contract. absolutely zero risk to the seller and zero risk to me. Again, immediately after I get that signed contract, I go back to my investors, and like I said, never once did it take me more than 48 hours for me to get an investor to give me the earnest money and go put that thing under contract and get control of the property. I then sign a one-page document. It's so simple. You don't even need an attorney to read it, even though I recommend you do, that assigns my rights to that contract to the investor for a finder's fee, in this case about $10,000. Then, at closing, not when they put up the earnest money, at closing, I get my check for $10,000. Again, no risk, I put up no money, and I didn't have to use my credit. It's a powerful way to get your feet wet in real estate investing, even though it's not investing, but you know what I mean, and get over some of the fears that may be holding you back. All right, this is the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. If you've got a question for me, give me a call, 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-KSEV. You're listening to AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Are you tired of losing money in every down market? Did you know that real estate makes money in both the up and down markets? In fact, we make more money in the down market. Hi, this is Steve Davis, host of the GetRealWealth.com radio show. Yes, we are praying for a down market, and you should know why. To find out why, attend our free 2-hour introductory workshop. To reserve a seat, visit GetRealWealth.com and click on the free workshop button at the top of the page. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. I want to expand on the phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-5738. I want to expand on getting your real estate agents paid. See, I have a love-hate relationship with realtors, not because they're realtors, because they're human beings. I have a love-hate relationship with all trades, if you will, because there's good people and there's bad people. Then there's great people. And what you've got to do is cultivate a group of great agents. See, a lot of agents, as I was discussing this, their minds closed. They just said, no, I wouldn't do that. Guess what? They're not the great agents. They're the average or below. See, what I did was I contacted probably, over the years, 300 real estate agents to come up with the 24, 25 that were willing to work with me. And I had to screen them. You know, it was always kind of humorous to me that I was calling going, look, I'll get you paid all 6%, bring me your listings. And they go, oh, I don't want to deal with investors. What? You'd rather deal with a dumb owner occupant that buys whatever you tell them to buy? Oh, yeah, that's exactly what you want to do, isn't it? You just want the dumb owner occupants who buy one house from you every 7 to 10 years instead of an investor who's going to buy 10 a year from you. See, they're closed-minded, they're short-sighted, and they're average or mediocre and always will be until they change. That was so negative, I'm sorry. Until they decide to change. So what you look for is an agent. I don't mind if they're skeptical even. You know, I had agents literally say things like this. Okay, Steve, I mean, I don't really work with investors, but if I come across something you're looking for, I'll get it under listing and I'll give you a call. And I could tell they didn't believe me, but they were going to give it a shot. Then I had the ones that really got it. They go, oh, heck yeah, I get it. So what you're saying, Steve, is all these deals that I have to pass up because they're in terrible condition and they won't qualify for a mortgage, you can buy those houses? And I would say yes. They go, okay, I'll start getting those under listing agreements. and I'll bring those listing agreements to you. And the other reason they love coming to me, and they're going to love coming to you, is because I can respond literally within less than 2 minutes and tell them whether I want the deal or not, or whether I'm interested in writing an offer through running comparable sales. And so not only do they get paid 6% to sell it to me, because they're the listing agent, and because they're selling it to me, they're also the selling agent, I reply instantly, couple of minutes, 5 minutes at most. So you've got to put yourself in that position with 24 agents or more so that you're finding deals on a monthly basis. And you really, to make good money at this, you need to do a deal every month. Now, it may take you 3 months to do your first deal, but after that, you should be popping one a month. How did I get these agents to deal with me? Again, I called 300. 275 of them told me no. 25 of them told me yes. And what I was basically saying, I alluded to just a moment ago, was I would ask them. It was basically an opening question. I go, do you ever find deals that are in such poor condition that they won't qualify for a mortgage? And they go, yeah, all the time. Great. Would you do me a favor? Instead of letting those deals go and just poo-pooing them, get them under contract, sign a listing agreement with the seller, and bring that listing agreement to me, and I'll write an offer on the property. I'm telling you, some people turn that down. I'm like, why do you care? Why would you not want another source of income? In other words, you're selling to the dumb owner occupants. Why don't you sell to an educated investor that'll buy every stinking house you can find that nobody else can buy? Well, like I said, 25 or so got it, and they started bringing me deals. And I closed on, I only had one deal fall out, by the way, over the 3-year period I was wholesaling. 3 years, 36 deals. It was probably more than that. Yeah, it was over 100. Yeah, it was over 100 deals. So that was more than one a month. God, it's been a long time. But sometimes I was selling, like I described earlier, I was selling 6 at one time. So that I count that kind of as one deal. But it was over 100 units, about one deal a month, sometimes 2. So these agents then, when you close, they get all 6% of the commission. Who are they going to call the next time they find a good deal? Cindy down the road, who splits the commission with them? Or me, who gets them all of the commission? Me. So, and the other thing, don't pull this garbage on your real estate agent. There is a technique out there in multiple books, multiple CDs, multiple workshops, where they tell you, wait till 24 hours before the closing and tell the agent that you don't have enough money to close the deal, and if they would give you $1,000 of their commission, you could close the deal. That is stealing. It's bogus, and guess what you just did? You made an emotional bank account withdrawal from that agent, and guess who they're not going to call in the future? You just killed the golden goose. That's who your agents are. And it also shows no respect for the high level of skill that even mediocre agents have. You look at a great agent, they have an incredible sales ability. You know, all these, and I know I'm being brutal when I say this, these idiots out there who think that people are going to start buying real estate without an agent. They build these websites and they build all this stuff to sell real estate and try to eliminate the agents. It ain't happening. It takes a human touch. it takes a person to grab that contract, fill it out, spin it around to the buyer, hand them the pen, and get them to sign. It takes mad skills to do that. Confidence, love, caring, a true intention to help the buyer. Without those things, no computer program is going to do that. Without those things, you're not going to have a sale. It's just like when they get the listing for me. They're sitting there with a family in pain. Why are they in pain? They may be going through a divorce. They may be going through a foreclosure. They may be going through a death in the family. They may just be facing the fact that they let their property be destroyed through neglect over the last 20 years. It's painful. And that agent sits down with them over coffee and talks them into signing a listing agreement with them. Again, another set of incredible skills. Real estate agents are awesome. Get them paid. And then you'll be at the top of their list every time they find a great deal. Now, are there 100 different other sources for locating property? Absolutely. Foreclosure lists. There's even online programs that get you the pre-foreclosure lists. There's ways to find stuff that's off market, Craigslist, bandit signs. There's all kinds of ways to find deals. But nothing is more consistent that I've ever seen than getting a group of agents that are hustlers, the top 4% of the real estate agents who are hustlers, and get out there and find deals. That way you don't have to. This is another point about leverage. See, people always know about leveraging money, but they forget about leveraging time and knowledge. You have to leverage your time, knowledge, and money. And think of it like this. When I would take my kids to Disney World for a week, or to Mexico for a week, or Canada, or wherever, I was 25 people back home looking for real estate. I would be on vacation. I literally bought an apartment complex one time in the United States. I was in Mexico on vacation. You laugh, I'm sure, but it's the truth. I had to stop what I was doing, walk off the beach to the hotel where there was a fax machine. They faxed me all the contracts. I signed all of them, faxed them back, and bought an apartment complex while on vacation in Mexico. That's leverage. That's the power of leveraging your time. See, if you go out there and you've got a 40, 50, 60-hour a week job, and you start trying to locate the properties, what have you just created for yourself? A second job. That's not the intent at all. Okay, this is the GetRealWealth.com radio show. We're coming up on the final segment of the show. So if you've got a question for me, please give me a call right now, 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-KSEV. You're listening to AM 700, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Real estate accounts for more millionaires in America than any other investment vehicle. This second stream of income can truly change your life. More time for travel and romance, more time for family and fitness, more time for whatever you want to do with your life. To find out how to build this second stream of income, attend our free 2-hour introductory workshop on real estate investing. To reserve a seat, visit GetRealWealth.com and click on the free workshop button at the top of the page. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. I did get a text, which I'm not sure how, maybe off of Facebook or who knows. Anyway, it's somebody asking about the free workshop this evening. We do have a free course this evening at our offices and online. In that workshop, I touch on the strategies that we use to build a second stream of income with real estate. I'll touch on the benefits of wholesaling, the benefits of flipping, and go into detail on single-family rental and a small apartment complex rental and show you how you can do that yourself. So yes, the live event is on, and it will also be available online. You can pick which you prefer. If you want to meet us and see the office to see we're real, come to the live event, or if not, just watch it on GoToMeeting. You can find out more and reserve a seat by going to getrealwealth.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, it will say free course. Check that out. It's only about an hour and 15 minutes. We're done and out of there. It starts at 6:30, and we're usually done and out of there by 7:45. So check that out at getrealwealth.com. getrealwealth.com. In upper right-hand corner, it'll say free course, and I look forward to meeting any and all of you there. I will be presenting that workshop live. Okay, so again, we've been addressing wholesaling and quite a few different concepts. There is obviously a lot more to it. That's why I spent an hour or two in the weekend class on it. But what I gave you today are the basics. It's enough for you to actually go out there and do it if you just spend a little money on education. You know, and I'm not talking $50,000, $60,000. I'm talking a couple grand. If you come with us, our $2,000 program is on sale for just $500 just for the COVID event. And be very careful when I say this, when you hear this. When COVID's over, that discount's over. Our $2,000 coaching package, it's a 2-year membership, comes with unlimited question and answer, and the weekend class is on sale for $500 right now, and I'll talk about that this evening at the live event. But anyway, if you'll spend a little money, get a coach that'll walk you through your first few deals, you can do this. Every single one of you, male, female, black, white, Asian, doesn't matter. There's no excuse. And then I want to share something with you that is really frustrating me because I'm 55. Do you know that everyone, without exception, of my friends who are also 52 to 60 can't find jobs? There's not supposed to be age discrimination, but let me tell you something. There is. And it's the most discriminated of all classes. Sorry if that offends you. No, it's the most discriminating because it hits everybody. These guys and women cannot get jobs. You know, the conversation ends when they ask you what year you graduated college. And then it makes them realize exactly how old you are. It's wrong, but it's happening. But there's a solution. Stop being a dependent little baby and buy something for yourself that you own and control. Be independent. See, real estate knows no age. It doesn't care. You can go out and build as much wealth at 72 and 82 as a 22-year-old can. It doesn't care. You are in control. It's your business. You make the rules. And you don't fire yourself because you're 55 or not hire you because you're over 50. It's an incredible opportunity to take immediate control of your financial destiny away from corporate America, away from these jobs. Man, I'm just telling you, life is amazing once you take control of your financial destiny. It really is. It changes everything. When you get out of that little child or baby mentality of, I want someone else to be, I want to be dependent on a job. I want to be dependent on a corporation. I don't trust myself. I'm not going to do it. I need someone else. I need to be dependent. Doggone it, no, you don't. You can do this. Every single one of you. If you've ever maintained a job for a long period of time, 5 years, and yes, 5 years is a long time. Do you realize how hard that is to maintain a job for 5 years? I know people that are on. I've got a friend who went through 8 different jobs in about a 5-year period. 8. Now, of course, in her brain, it was always their problem, and from someone who knew her, it was her fault. But if you can keep a job, you can run a business. You may need a little further education. I get that, but you can do it. Do not sit there on the sidelines, scared to take action, scared to become independent. Start thinking independently, start acting independently, and take responsibility for your own financial destiny. It is life-changing. And I'm talking about peace of mind, more time for family, more time for fitness, more time for fun and adventure. It's incredible. It's an incredible lifestyle. Okay, let me see. I've got one. Let me check my email here. All I've got is my phone because I'm actually at the studio today. And if everybody wasn't clear, the electricity went out in the building where the radio station was. That's why we were not on Monday through Wednesday. Crazy coincidence? My office is in the same building, so I wasn't in my office either. Okay, one email question. It has to do with selling a helicopter. Okay. Yeah, selling a helicopter. I'll be able to raise $500,000 or more. What should I do with it? Wow. Okay, I've never had this question before, but it's a good question. You've got an asset there. Now, you probably paid 1.2 or 1.5 million for that helicopter, but now it's only worth 500. I would sell it if you don't need it anymore. If it's not making you money or adding value to your family, sell it. And that is enough money to buy a small apartment complex, maybe 20, 25 units. However, a higher and better use would be to passively invest. Now, I say higher and better as a rule. For some of you, it's going to be better to buy the 25 unit. But for most people, it's going to be better for you to take that $500,000, put $100,000 into 5 different apartment complexes, 200 units, 300 units, 500 units, stuff like that, and start generating income. And even at a 10% rate of return, that's $50,000 a year for the rest of your life. And that money's going to double every 2 to 4 years. So that $500,000 in 2 years, maybe 4 years, at the most, is going to be worth $1 million. Then you'll be making $100,000 a year for the rest of your life. So it's you're in a really, really, really good position. Congratulations. I hope that helicopter served you and your family well when you did need it. But if it's time to go, get rid of it. It's just a toy. It's just a toy. Remember, we never own anything on this planet. We are renting it. It's always rent. I don't care if it's your home, your car, your helicopter, your ship, your yacht. You're renting it. You don't have it forever. You don't own it. It's rented while you're alive. And keep that in mind, and it makes it easier to part with things. At least it did for me. Okay, let's see if I got another one. Phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-5738. Oh, there, it finally recognized me. This email is just a simple thank you. I'll reply to this after the radio show. I really appreciate your kind words, and I'll email you after the radio show. The next one is, I work full-time as a car salesman. Okay, that's a good skill. Can I wholesale at the same time? I think the reason he's asking that is because car salesmen work tremendous number of hours, probably 60 hours a week. The answer is yes, it can be done. But you'll probably make more money by quitting your job and wholesaling than you would at your job. All right, we'll talk more tomorrow here on the GetRealWealth.com radio show.
Wealth.com radio show. Please remember that this show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as legal, tax, or investing advice. Always get a professional opinion before making any investment decision. To find out about the mentoring and consulting at Real Wealth Academy, visit GetRealWealth.com and attend one of our free introductory workshops on real estate investing. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thanks for listening and have a great rest of your day.